back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today I'm going to tie a classic dry fly attractor pattern, and this is the Patriot. This fly was designed by a friend of mine, Mr. Charles Meck. He is an author, and a lot of guys probably have read his books. The hook I have in the vise is a Maruto. This is a D31 SSC, size 14. And you can see it's a dry fly hook, turn down eye, fine wire, wide gap, and you can get this from frostyflies.com. I'm going to use 16-aught Vivas thread. I'm going to use a red thread. We're going to start the thread in back of the eye, and we're going to come back halfway. And then we're going to bring that thread back up half of that, and that's where we're going to put our wing. For my wing post, I'm going to use, this is Hemingway's Parapost wing, and I take this, you can see in there, there's, you can see all the individual, and I use 2/3 of one of the strips. You can use, Charlie used white calf hair for his wing. This is just a little easier to tie with the parapost. Just going to tie it on, then we're going to stand it up and divide it. Just going to bring that up top. And now I'm going to go ahead and run that thread the rest of the way back. Nice tight loops to make a good base. This is a really good attractor pattern. We're going to stop that just at the end of the flat section. Now for the tail, I'm going to use a dark ginger Hackle, and this is cock feathers. I'm going to stand them up at a 90 degree, and then I'm going to take a bunch of them. I'm going to take a little more than ½ an inch worth, pull them all together at the same time. I want this tail to be as long as the hook shank. I can see that that's very large. I'm going to cut that tuft off the back. And then we're going to tie that in. Going to go ahead and put a wrap underneath the tail and secure that. Go ahead and bring our thread back. I'm not going to go all the way. I'm going to stop just short. Now for the body, I'm going to use Teal blue Krystal flash. This is what Charlie used, the original pattern, used teal blue Krystal flash. When I take my Krystal flash, instead of taking it out, here's a good option for you. Just cut a little slot on the end, and I'm using my whip finisher, and I'm just going to grab one of them and pull it out of the slot, and they stay pretty much undisturbed in the bag. I'm going to tie that in. And then I'm going to bring my thread nice and tight wraps Back to the tail. Make nice tight wraps coming forward. This is going to be very much like the Royal Coachman. So we're going to use 1/3 Krystal Flash, 1/3 thread, 1/3 Krystal Flash. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this. And I'm pulling this tight, but I'm not pulling it too tight because Krystal Flash is a little bit fragile when you pull it tight. I'm going to go back on it and then bring it forward once again. Now I'm going to tie that down. I'm going to make some nice tight wraps to make the middle section, the middle third. I'm going to go over that once more. And mostly I'm going over it the second time, mostly to keep a even body. Got another wrap in back. There we go. Then we're going to bring the thread up to the rear of the wing. Now we'll take our Krystal Flash once again. We're going to wrap the front 1/3. And you can bring that right up to that wing. And I'll bring that back forward. And I'm going to tie that off. I'm going to go ahead and tie that off right in front of that wing just because it was more convenient for me. And then remove that excess Krystal Flash. I'm going to go ahead and trim those wings to size. I'm going to pull them both together and I'm going to trim them. I want them to be the length of the hook shank. Cut them at a little bit of an angle towards the rear. Now for the hackle, I'm going to use a dark ginger hackle. I'm going to place that right between the wings. I'm going to catch it in the front first, getting that tight. Make some tight wraps there. And I have a little bit of the trimmed part of the stem exposed. Wrap it in the back. Those wings went forward there a little bit. I just put a couple of tight wraps right in front of them to stand them up again. Now we're going to wrap that hackle. And you can see that first wrap, we don't have any hackles going towards the rear. We get 2 wraps in back. Then we're going to hold the wing back. And we're going to rub that hackle right against that wing. Then we're going to wrap the remainder right in front. And we're going to tie that off. And I'm going to trim away the excess. And I'm going to tie that head off. Take our whip finish. Give it 3 or 4 turn whip finish. Get rid of that thread. And here we have Charlie Mech's Patriot fly. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please leave comments, questions, suggestions. Please visit my sponsors. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.